reporters, John Bound, Jakari Jackson, Adon Salazar, and, of course, Joe Jennings are all down on the Texas-Mexico border, or the former Texas border, here in FEMA Region 6, where just everywhere you turn, there are just floods of illegal aliens pouring across, being greeted by bureaucrats and lawyers, women with multiple children in tow, having them handed over to the government and churches to instantly go on welfare and then to instantly be given driver's license to then vote. Our own David Knight got rammed by an illegal alien the other day, and the guy was like crazy, ramming him with a dump truck into the street across the red light. And the cops got there and just said, we're not going to do anything. He's above the law. There's nothing you can do. And they basically saluted the guy, and that was the end of it. And I've talked to Travis County prosecutors, senior ones who've come to this office, senior ones, and said, you need to look into this. I'm like, look into it. I know about it. And they're like, listen, police are told don't bring them in or the judge gives them a $5 to $20 fine. All they do is give the illegal a $5 or $20 fine. They tell the police, you get plump citizens. They are the schmucks. They are the suckers. They are the jokes. They are the target. They are the enemy. You got a American citizen with 3 kids in the back, obviously working 2 jobs, doesn't have any money. Hit him and hit him hard. Drive her into bankruptcy. Drive her into Cloward and Piven. But if it's an illegal, I read you the AP headline. Bloomberg also reported on it. Chris Jordan was able to find it just a few weeks ago. It was an article from 2005 where the bank's presidents were bragging to AP that, yes, we give them bank loans that no one else gets with no IDs because we want to be friendly and help. No, the globalists want an incentive to bankrupt the country. And once it's bankrupted, then the illegals won't get a free ride anymore. So this isn't even about a hatred of the illegals. If I was in an implode third world country and there was a place with better opportunities, I would come up here. If I was a Mexican woman and had 2 kids and my husband had run off and I was living in a dirt floor shack down in on the suburbs of Mexico City, I'd get on a bus and come up here and come right into the waiting arms, and they go, Senorita, all you got to do is vote for the Democrats, and you'll get everything you want. Well, what's she going to do? Yeah, there it is, CNN money. Banking on illegal immigrants. Banks are seeing an untapped resource of providing home loans to undocumented U.S. residents. That's a similar article along the AP and Bloomberg article. It was back in 2005, as I said. They had an advertisement. See, you learn how media works? That's why my brain burns when I see the news, and it's very painful to even try to explain it because I have too much proof. It's like putting on a prosecution per article, slam dunk prosecutions. You've still got to put on the slam dunk prosecution. And if the public can't see it, I don't know what to do. But they had all these articles telling the illegals, you can go get a home loan. You can go get a home loan. And then who bailed all that out? The taxpayer again. Well, you don't think in Atlanta and Austin, Texas a few years ago, when it came out that per address, $86 million, $151 million. These were addresses in Atlanta and Austin, Texas, that were getting tax returns where you would have listed 5 people as residents getting $86 million. By the way, no prosecutions, no investigations. Where do you think $86 million went? It was laundered back into the Democratic Party and the Republicans that play ball. That's why there's a criminal takeover, because they're robbing everything. You don't think the illegals in the House got 86 mil, do you? They're lucky if they got 100 grand. The globalists use illegals as the underground black market that they can run all the drugs, launder the money, the sex, all of it through those groups. Then any other group tries to run a criminal op, shut down with the NSA tracker systems instantly. And by the way, that all came out in the New York Times.
Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. Celebrate the spirit of 1776 with the George Washington brass belt buckle or this incredibly sharp-looking 1776 hat. Badass. And be sure to check out the new arrivals at InfoWars Life, where you can prepare your body to perform at peak levels with Survival Shield Nascent Iodine, Super Male Vitality, and Fluoride Shield. And wake up, America. Immune Support Blend is the healthy choice for the gourmet coffee lover. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
We are going to first break down the fact, and my crew's looking for it, but we don't mark down every word I say, but everyone knows that since Benghazi took place a few years ago, even before that with the Libya situation, the West is giving high-tech, modern, surface-to-air anti-aircraft missiles to certified real al-Qaeda, to their command base in Benghazi, which then took over all of Libya. They even had the weapons last year shooting them at helicopters in the country of Egypt till the military crushed them, and CNN called the military, violent terrorist because they dare fight back against al-Qaeda. And now it is on Fox News, CNN, you name it. Oh, we've got to take your rights because al-Qaeda and ISIS have gotten Stinger missiles. Why? They must have overrun U.S. bases and found them just lying there, like U.S. military pulls out of bases and just leaves Stinger missiles laying there on the ground. Remember last Friday, I shot a video of a 20-minute special report for the Nightly News where I showed the Pentagon putting out statements to the AP that, oh, we think ISIS that's connected to al-Qaeda might have found some of our weapons at bases that we left behind. That's why they've got U.S. weapons. And then they have the neocons come in and give Obama cover, going, he's not doing enough. He should invade and blow up al-Qaeda. They know full well they armed al-Qaeda, along with the Republican Democratic Party backing it, in the last 3.5 years to attack Syria right on the border. And they took over part of Syria and used that as a command base right across the border from Iraq. And the Iraqi military in the last 3 months has been blowing up military bases and convoys as they try to come across the border. And they know al-Qaeda has taken over Fallujah, Tikrit, and other areas, and it's been on the back burner in our news. There have been giant 5-mile-long convoys of well-organized vehicles with medium and light weapons and high-tech weapons pouring across. You don't think they couldn't have had a bunch of drones come in and take them out highway of death style like 1991 when Saddam's forces fled out of Kuwait back into Iraq? Obama's golfing in Palm Springs looking at his retirement home. Why, Obama doesn't know what's going on. This is a Saudi Arabian proxy army, and I, of course, said that years ago, but months ago said they were getting ready to take down Iraq, at least the entire bottom half of it, because that's the globalist plan. They've had these guys take over Libya, try to take over Syria, try to take over Egypt. That's how evil our so-called government is, folks, that they would try to turn the stable government of Egypt, 35 years working with the United States, from an old policy set up when JFK left office at LBJ to stabilize the region. Christians, Muslims could live in peace. You could buy property there. You could be left alone. You could be a good tourist. Prosperity for the country. That is now gone. And how many times did I tell you, we've got to find the clip. I mean, we've got to just start, I guess, paying to have a transcript made every day. It would cost probably $400, $300 a day, but the computers are getting good enough to do it. To just search and turn everything into a Word document every day, like the NSA does with everybody's phone conversations. We should do it ourselves so we can search my comments. But I probably, let's not exaggerate, I probably said 150 times, because I did it on dozens of broadcasts, and I would do it each time over and over again on each broadcast, that you will hear them say al-Qaeda-affiliated groups have gotten modern Stinger missiles. These aren't left over from the 80s when the CIA gave it to them. and they're going to shoot down airliners in the U.S. and Europe. We've got to take your liberties because Al-Qaeda's now got surface-to-air missiles that'll shoot down airliners. Last night and this morning, all I heard was, see, we need Homeland Security more than ever. We need checkpoints on the highways. I saw Senator Mendez, it just went on, saying this has all got to be done because of the fact that Stinger missiles are about to kill us right now. And all it'll take is some private contractors, or they'll even use a cutout group of real Muslim extremists who think they're actually fighting for Allah. They will shoot down, they'll probably fire 4 Stinger missiles. I know how the globalists operate. This is how they'll do it. They'll get outside Dallas or D.C. or wherever, and they'll pick, aircraft taking off with folks going to Europe for holiday or whatever. And they'll wait till 2 jets take off. They'll have 4 because it needs to be spectacular. And they'll shoot them all down right there. And then that'll disappear and they'll find a car. I say this to ruin their plans. They'll find a car with all the Arabic and why they did it and everything. Maybe even blaming it on Iran. Doesn't matter, Iran's the opposite group. I've now heard them saying Shiites are really Al-Qaeda and then Iran. I saw that on Fox and CNN yesterday. I'm now monitoring enemy transmissions even more because of how they operate. I can learn a lot because they like to pre-program, and I need the exact pre-programming to understand what they're planning. Because they talk to you like you're unconscious idiots. They say, you kept your doctor, even though you can't keep it. This lowered your price, even though it increased it. You didn't build your business. Raising the debt limit doesn't raise it. They talk to you like you have a 45 IQ and can't talk. They talk to you like you're 2 years old. Even a 2-year-old has discernment, knows it's a lie. And so I'm seeing pre-programming, and I'm telling you, it won't matter. When I get up and say, see, I told you, I'll be the traitor who doesn't care about the lives of the dead people. How dare Alex Jones say the Stinger missile attack on the jet airliners in D.C. or Dallas or L.A., how dare him, or Chicago, because they want a place with a lot of media to cover it the way they want. How dare him side with Iran and say they didn't do it? Even though we exposed the chemical weapons attack 3 times that Saudi Arabia launched against Assad to blame him. Later came out in Cy Hirsch, New Yorker Magazine, everywhere, BBC, it was staged, admitted, with Turkey as well. So, if I was the globalist, and then I could see all their pre-planning, they're doing exactly what I would do if I was them, you can see the whole thing unfolding. So let's go ahead and play Megyn Kelly on Fox News. We've got a bunch of these clips coming up. Get ready for Stinger missiles. Give up all your rights. Here it is.
But today we learned that the same group may now be in possession of a deadly cache of American-made firepower, Stinger missiles. They are powerful enough to take down a commercial airliner. We're
going to come back with that. By the way, because they need that to take out the Iraqi helicopters. So the CIA said, house 5,000 Stingers.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
And everybody knows, I told you what Benghazi was about. It was about plausible deniability. And I knew 100% last week when I saw a bunch of articles in a major domestic Pentagon push where they domestically engaged in what was illegal until last year, propaganda, lies, saying, oh, Al-Qaeda and ISIS, they just got the missiles left in some bases in Iraq. Uh-huh. That's right. And, boy, that's why Obama's doing nothing. But now he sent 200 and something troops to the big giant embassy to make sure Al-Qaeda doesn't get it. Uh-huh. Al-Qaeda will probably shoot a few mortars at the base in the middle of the night and may even kill a few real troops just to make it look like there's a fight going on. Because the troops don't know it's all staged. Just like the Al-Qaeda is going to kill U.S. personnel and contractors, because it's real, folks. It's real wars. It's the same group at the top running it to take over nation states, because stability and the people and freedom and civilization is the target. It's called destabilization. Zbigniew Brzezinski's written not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 books. And guess who read all 5 of them? I read his Technotronic era when I was 14 years old. You know why? Growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch television except to watch PBS or Saturday morning cartoons, and the house was just full of political science books. And I always thought his books had the coolest covers. Had all these little squiggly lines and green and yellow shapes, and I wanted to read it. I wanted to read The Road to Serfdom. I wanted to read all of it. You know what I did? And I guess that's why I'm a weirdo. See, when I was 14, I wasn't just a bookworm. I was playing football and dating girls and everything else, but I always wanted to run back at night and stay up late and read Zbigniew Brzezinski, where he admitted the elite run the narcotics and the elite control all the major criminal groups because that's how we maintain order, is by controlling the evil. And then I read Machiavelli when I was 16, the same year I read Mein Kampf, or My Struggle. And so I just had this top political science education by the time I was about 18 years old because it was so entertaining. I didn't realize what I was even reading at the time. It was just so interesting. Mass executions every other page in Order of Death by Heinz Hobel. And Page Turner in Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by Shearer. The Battle for Gaul by Julius Caesar. I was reading Caesar's words written 2,050-something years ago about how to control populations. And so in high school and college, I said, my God, this is everything I read. They're doing it now. And public, if you can learn how this stuff works, if I can learn how this works, we can turn this around. But you must discover how you're controlled. And then you can say they're going to take the Benghazi Stinger missiles and they're going to hold Europe and the United States hostage. And the elite here are going to take all of our rights in the next phase of Stinger terror. But only by exposing the enemy's next move can we stop them. We can pull up the Washington Times 2 years ago showing Saudi Arabian nationals do not have their burqas taken off and are not searched because they won't have it. They're not compliant. Their government controls our government to a great extent. Only the American people let folks stick their hands in their baby's diaper. What other country publicly lets their wives be groped by men with perv mustaches and pot bellies? We're a joke, ladies and gentlemen. America was exceptional, and I love this country, and there's still a lot of exceptionalism left in it. But the yuppies and the trendies and all the freeloading illegal aliens that hate this country and think everything's free for them, and that I'm racist if I don't move 50 people in my house, you can all go straight to hell. I'm smart. I know how things work. I want freedom. I care about your future. I know what comes around goes around. I want all of you to have prosperity. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Your ignorance is not an excuse to go along with this.
But today we learned that the same group may now be in possession of a deadly cache of American-made firepower, Stinger missiles. They are powerful enough to take down a commercial airliner.
Well, that's last night, Megyn Kelly. Ladies and gentlemen, on record, Saudi Arabia is in their own newspapers, Kurt Nemo's written articles, bragging that this is a holy caliphate of the Sunni, which are the majority of Muslims worldwide, taking over the Shiite nation of Iraq. And I watched Fareed Zakaria, the Bilderberg Group member, and I watched them all. He was on MSNBC this morning. No, it was CNN. I was on the elliptical, flipping through channels. Talk about how the leader of Iraq, Maliki, is a thug and a Shiite evil man, and that this is what he basically deserves. So now Al-Qaeda is the good guy, and the elected government that's been somewhat pro-U.S., it's been neutral, is now the bad guy. And then they flip to another guest saying, you better give your rights up, a U.S. senator, or we're going to be hit by terrorists. Iraq is just like this perpetual war zone. After they removed Saddam 23 years ago, they started the war against these people. Is 100 years of war against Iraq proper? 1,000? 1,000,000? Iraq never attacked us. Iraq was somewhat of a secular nation that the CIA, under another policy, put a stabilizer in, Saddam Hussein. That's declassified. Then they set him up, told him to invade Kuwait, and then have been weakening the country ever since. And now they're pouring into the country out of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the giant forces that were in Syria for the 3.5 years couldn't beat Assad. Now they're pouring into the totally infiltrated Iraqi government with CIA, MI6, contractor spooks everywhere, using that embassy to give battle data to Al-Qaeda and its new comic book name, ISIS, or ISIS, potato patata, ISIS, as they fly the bin Laden and Al-Qaeda flags, bigger than Dallas, and as they murder every Christian and every military and every police person they find. These are police people and military people that were trained on record by our U.S. military and incredible casualties to stabilize that country after it was destabilized by the West. And now they're being killed, and CNN, Fox, and MSNBC all are up there saying, well, the president of Iraq should have just been more pro-West and should have done whatever we said, and maybe now if he behaves, we may give some airstrikes to stop Al-Qaeda that has, or ISIS, that has now surrounded Baghdad. This would be the equivalent of 200,000 jihadis that had infiltrated the U.S., massing around D.C., attacking it, murdering everyone they come across, and the news goes on and says, Obama's been unpopular. You know, he deserves this. I mean, that's basically what CNN's saying. And they try to make it about Bush. Bush was a puppet. Bush was the earlier program to destabilize Iraq and get it ready for Saudi Arabia, who's been softening Iraq up for 22 years. Where did 15 of the 19 hijackers come from? Wasn't Iraq, ladies and gentlemen. You'd answer Saudi Arabia on Jeopardy, and Alex Trebek would say you answered correctly. We should have our own Jeopardy show once a month where we actually have real contestants in here and ask them terror questions and have big prizes. How about the grand winner each night after an hour show gets $5,000? We can even have people Skype in maybe as contestants. You know, they enter a lottery, they Skype in like 10 different Skype people, and I sit there and like Jeopardy and ask them, let's start easy. Oh, you picked false flag stage terror destabilization group. All right, number one. What year was the Gulf of Tonkin? Bing, 1964. Correct. In the same category, Bing. What year was the USS Maine destroyed, starting the Spanish-American War? Bing, 1898.
You
Good.
The answer in the form of a question.
Yeah, the answer for a question. I don't watch the show. You'll have to give me all the stuff. Next thing, they'll sit there and go to the next question. There you go. For the Daily Double, does that mean it's associated with the last question? Who was president in 1898 when the U.S. government staged the false flag, launching that war? Who is William McKinley? You are correct. Good. Now, let's continue in the false flag category. Can we do that again, please? All right. Continuing. You're doing really good. Wow, you got a lot of money up there on the board. Let's move on now to another question. Being, ISIS. ISIS. What Muslim group founded and runs this organization? Bing. Oh, you know the answer already. That would be Al-Qaeda. Good answer. You win. All right, let's move along. The next question. Which country founded and runs Al-Qaeda and in 1901 launched the attack from a small Bedouin-held territory to take over most of the Middle East and was backed by British intelligence? Bing! You've already got the answer. What is Saudi Arabia? Is that enough InfoWars Jeopardy for everybody? It is. We should trust the government. We should take all the shots they give us and eat the GMO food, even though all these top scientists have gone public saying they were hired, I've had them on the show, to design a potato in England, you name it, to sterilize people, but only a certain portion so that no one could tell it was the potato directly. And then they hit you from so many other angles, they end up getting everybody. Guys, I'm thinking we should call it like, even though it's a parody, we can get away with doing it. We should call it something like Punkity. Instead of Jeopardy, you know, we're a punk nation of slaves that'll put up with anything. So we'll call the show I Got Punked. Hi, I'm Alex Jones. Thank you to I Got Punked. This is to honor the nation of sheep who, well, like punks in prison, love to get beat up every day and forced to bend over. It'd be easier to stand up and fight, but they want the hard road of being a slave. So to all the slaves out there, you want it? You want a kick in the teeth every minute on the minute? You're going to get it. The road to serfdom is for you.
You are watching the best of the Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.